Coming up now. Hello and good morning. And if you're in Australia or down under, and if you're up in the Northern Hemisphere, it's probably evening up there or early morning. Welcome to the Know to Grow interview with John Ferrara, the CEO of Nimble CRM. And we're going to be talking about growing relationships to grow your business today. So thank you for joining me. Before we get into the interview with John, I'd just like to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. And then we'll talk to John and get a bit more of his background, and then we'll start answering some of those questions we said we'd discuss today. So what we're going to cover is introduce John, obviously. We're going to cover why using a CRM has changed how over the last few years. It's okay for big businesses to use CRM, but us small businesses, we know our customers. I often get that when I'm talking to people. I've got a spreadsheet and things like that. So that's a point I'd like to discuss, John. And MailChimps and accounting, they're our CRM. And that's another one that comes up and people feel comfortable. And then John is the CEO and founder of Nimble CRM. And I thought, I'd get him to ask us, how does a CRM like Nimble help small and medium-sized businesses? Then we can address any questions, and I've got a special offer as well at the end of it. So let's go introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ross Keating. I'm the client orchardist, and I help businesses that are doing okay to create long-term repeat customers by harvesting their existing customers and prospects so you can release hidden revenue in the business and create more delighted customers. Put briefly, it's harvest more profits from delighted customers. I've got more than 25 years in the CRM industry as selling and also installing and building strategies around that and business plans for companies. I've got 15 years in my own business as a business consultant, and I'm a business integrator. I've held management responsibility for more than $36 million in sales and responsibility for 40,000 plus customers. And here in Queensland and Australia, I'm on the state government's Mentoring for Growth panel, where we provide suggestions and insights to developing businesses. I'm a partner and ambassador for Nimble, and I've been using Nimble since 2011, I think it is, John. And yep. I'm proud to be a Nimble ambassador. I'm also a partner of 366 Degrees, a marketing automation tool, and PieSync, which is an integration app that integrates more than 100 apps with each other on a two-way sync basis, including Nimble, to things like Xero, and they're all my partners. So, and we're all linked to Nimble. So funny enough, it's been a wonderful relationship. So let's get on to John, and less about me. John, as I said, is the CEO and the founder of Nimble CRM. He's the influencer in social marketing, and he's also the founder of one of the original CRMs back in the 90s, Goldmine, and was one of the most successful. He's a pioneer of Salesforce automation in the CRM categories, and an innovator. He comes up with something different. And he was also co-author of Social CRM for Dummies. I've still got the book, John, so it's still worthwhile going back and having a look. So welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Ross. I really appreciate the opportunity to connect with you and your community. I think we all grow by teaching, and any opportunity that I have to inspire and educate others, I jump at the chance. So thank you so much.
John, when we talk, I'd like to get people to know a little bit more about your background. I've got that, who you are. I mean, you've just, this week's your 25th wedding anniversary, I understand, as well.
Say again?
Is that your 25th wedding anniversary this week?
26th wedding anniversary, yeah. And we celebrated it in Ireland. Wow. And a little bit of London. So it was really fantastic.
And it's sharing those bits that make us real people. And you talk about building it I was listening to you on a recent webinar, and you said it's like taking it from the nod, on the digital nod, to the offline hug. I think you've always been about that, as far as I know you.
Well, Ross, I think that people buy from people, not from businesses. And people buy from people that they like, know, and trust. So your job as a business person is to earn the intimacy and trust of your prospects and customers and stay top of mind. So when they make a buying decision, that they not only pick up the phone and call you, but they drag their friends with them. So how do you do that today in our over-connected, over-communicated world? You're not going to do that by telling people how great you are or your products are. You need to teach them how they can be great. And that's what we teach our Nimble customers, because I believe if you teach people to fish, they'll figure out you sell fishing poles.
Yeah, and that's one of I love that quote. I can just see you sitting on the edge of the water or on a boat doing that. Yeah, you want to come down under? Come on down under. There's lots of fish down here and lots of boats, as you can see over my shoulder.
Yes. Jumping.
John, I mean, where do you see the relationships in CRM now today? Let's just sort of get into that. How and why has CRM changed over the last few years?
Well, let's just get to the roots of CRM. CRM started with the Rolodex. That's that thing that you used to have on your desk that you put business cards in. And when you go to call somebody, you rolled the Rolodex so the phone number came up and you called them. And people found that to be useful, but they really wanted more of a system for outreach and staying in touch. So they developed something called a 6x9 index card system, which you take the card on a prospect and you call them, you make notes on the card, and at the end of the call, you have a recall date. When should I call you back? And you file it based on the recall date. And that was the beginnings of contact management, which are the roots of CRM. And that's kind of where we came in with Goldmine, where we were the first company to integrate email, contact, and calendar and sales and market automation for a team. And that's basically sort of was the roots of CRM, was a great contact manager. But then what happened was Microsoft came out with Outlook and Siebel and Salesforce came out with CRM. So contact management and CRM split. So you live in your Outlook or your email, and then you go to the CRM to log stuff so management gets off your back and they can run the reports on your pipeline. And that we found that didn't really work because nobody really used the CRM. I like to joke, but it's true. The reason they call it Salesforce, you have to force salespeople to use it. Most people don't use any CRM. In fact, there's 225 million global businesses and less than 1% use any CRM. So I believe that the biggest cause of failure of CRM is lack of use and then bad data, even if you do use it. Because if you type anything in a CRM, it's going to change because people change and companies change. So I believe the future of CRM will be a CRM that people love to use because it works for you by building itself and then works with you wherever you're working. So you basically get the context and insights you need to engage more effectively.
Yeah, and I talk about creating a single source of customer truth, which
yes.
You're there. And what I hear you saying, really, it's like getting them people in the business as CRM that they don't realize that they're using a CRM. And I think that's
So if you think about it, traditionally CRM is given to salespeople, and they're and the salespeople use it for prospects and customers. And that's the problem, because you have a CRM in sales, you have a market automation system in marketing, you have a customer service program in customer service, you have an accounting program in accounting, you have social media platform in the social marketing team, and then you have Outlook or Office 365 or Gmail G Suite for contact management for the team, but it's not a team contact platform. It's contacts for the individual. So you don't really have a unified system of relationships for the whole company. That's where Nimble comes in, because with our PySync integration, we automatically unify all your disparate contacts from all the business systems, all your email platforms, as well as your social, and then create that unified relationship platform for everybody in the company that they can then use back in the departmental business apps, in CRM, in sales, in marketing, and accounting.
Okay. We talk about customer relationship management, but it's really not customer relationship management anymore, is it? It's more like relationship management, because it's prospects, it's customers, and it's your business network, and even your personal network, because there's a blurred line between business and personal.
Exactly. In fact, You bring up a good point there, Ross. I think anybody listening to this today should have their own personal CRM, even if they're forced to use a other CRM at their business. So imagine you have a golden Rolodex. Your network is your net worth. Your personal brand plus your professional network will help you achieve your dreams in life. You won't work where you work in 1 to 5 years. The average is 3. So you should be maintaining your own network in something like Nimble, and then use it in any business app that you're using, like the CRM you use at your company. But the other thing that you said that's important is your CRM shouldn't just be for prospects and customers. At Nimble, we connect with editors, analysts, bloggers, influencers, third-party developers, investors, advisors, and prospects and customers. And everybody in our company participates in that conversation. So every company should have a relationship manager for the whole business, not just a CRM for prospects and customers and salespeople.
John, you made me stop and think. You're sort of saying you've got all this information in your CRM about not investors and all the people that can influence you and the business works with in some form or way. I come across in a lot of businesses, regardless of what systems they use, I'm not going to share that information with my staff, or not all people should see this information. What's your feeling on that?
Well, I believe in transparency. I think that social media is increasing the transparency between people. And I think that in many cases, you don't need to really sort of protect your contacts over here because you don't trust your mate over there. But there are businesses that work like that. And we're actually adding, with the next version of Nimble, the ability to have privacy and rules on access to all aspects, including contacts.
Right. Okay. When you mentioned before, lack of use often goes back to bad data, and I find that's always been the case. I remember I had a company I was brought in with, and they had a CRM, and they never used it, hadn't used it for about 2 years, and they were paying there. And the staff said, "I'm not going to put the data in. You waste the time." And we put a process in place. Look, you tell me what you want as an incentive. And it was for one person, it was a bottle of Bombay gin. That was there, and others wanted a dinner out. And we worked out a time frame of about 2 months to go, so that they went through and updated their records that were out of date. And then we got other people to update the more general records that were more company orientated. How do you get people to update? What do you do to encourage people to?
Well, I think one of the beauties of Nimble is that it automatically updates your contact records with people and company data. So you don't have to Google them, you could Nimble them. And in addition, we link every interaction that you and the team have on email and social. So that really frees you up to do the basics, logging notes on the call, as well as scheduling next action and tasks. So most salespeople's time is wasted. 60% of their time is spent looking things up, logging what they know about the person in the company, logging what they did in email and calendar. And that's what Nimble relieves the burden of, because it automatically does all that for you. So you could focus on the human thing, listen to the person, figuring out ways to add value, and then logging and scheduling the things that you need to do next. And again, I think that that's the biggest cause of failure is you work for the CRM, you have to go to the CRM to use it and work for it. It doesn't work for you and it doesn't work with you where you're engaging, which today is email and also social.
Yeah. What I find with people is when they've gone to install a CRM, particularly where there's a company, the senior people have to be behind it. They have to have people there that are actually sort of saying, I'm going to use it. And I try to encourage them to sort of say, you've got to look at the information and not ask your sales team to put a report or somebody to put a report to you about the number of calls they made. You can see what that is. Do you believe that you need to get the management of an organization to believe and use the CRM?
I really do. I think that everybody in the company should be using the CRM so that everybody in the company is on one page. I'll tell you a story about me having a conversation with a associate at a VC. So I get this call on my cell phone, and I'm driving to meet with a VC. It's a call from their associate from the Boston office, and I'm meeting with the partner in San Francisco. And the associate says, "Hey, John, I'm hearing you guys are doing great things at Nimble. I really love to connect and learn more." And I said, "Wait a second, you work where?" "Oh, I work at Sequoia VC." "Okay, so what relationship platform do you use?" "Oh, we use Salesforce." "Okay, who uses that? Do you use it? Does the partner use it? Because I'm going to meet your partner in 20 minutes and you have no idea because the information's not there." And he said, "Well, yeah, the partners actually ask the secretaries to type that stuff in and it doesn't always get done. They don't really use it." And I think that the biggest cause of lack of using the CRM is that the customer-facing business team members don't see the benefit to them.
Yeah.
And that's what you should be doing for your customer-facing business team members, is empowering them to be more effective at engagement. Today, the CRM is a tool to keep the finger on the pulse of the business, the hand around the neck of the salesperson. It's not there for the salesperson's benefit. It's there to report on them. Today, CRM doesn't stand for customer relationship management. It stands for customer reporting management. And that's what it is. It's a management tool. Imagine if the CRM was so wonderful that salespeople loved to use it because it helped them. It enabled them to be more successful. That's what Nimble is.
Yeah, and that's what I like about trying to get that passion across to businesses about using a CRM. It's, if you've got the reason, what's in it for you? I always talk about what's in it for me. That's what the people who are using it want. You know, they don't care that a management can get a report out or makes it easier for that. But how does it make my job easier as a salesperson or customer care specialist? And having that broader information about a person, social selling is a term that's used a lot. How do you define social selling, and what's different about that from sales?
Well, sales has always been about relationships. People buy from people that they like, know, and trust. And you need to be able to earn that intimacy and trust. In the old days, we went into somebody's office and looked at the walls, looked at the books they read, the degree of the schools they went to, the knickknacks they collected. Why? Because we wanted to figure out some areas of commonality so that we could share those commonalities in order to break the ice and earn intimacy and trust. So social isn't new to business. It's always been the way we've done business. It's exactly what Zig Ziglar and Dale Carnegie taught us all to do. It's just now we could do it digitally. So rather than having to go into somebody's office to learn about them, you can Nimble them before the meeting, and you could figure out what those areas of commonality are, and then you could share them at the appropriate moment to earn that intimacy and trust. And that helps you to stay connected with that person and to get them to open up. And I'll tell you a story. So I was having a meeting with the CEO of a company called Inside Sales, Ken Crow. And I Nimbled him before the meeting. And of course, I saw his LinkedIn resume where he was an Entrepreneur of the Year and blah, blah, blah. But Nimble told me that he was an assistant scoutmaster and he had two sons who were Eagle Scouts. Now, I was an assistant scoutmaster and I have two sons who are Eagle Scouts. And when you meet another dad who was an ASM, assistant scoutmaster, who has Eagle Scouts, that's like brotherhood. That's like you guys have gone through the valley together. And so that earned me immediate intimacy and trust. And not only was the meeting amazing, but he invited me to come to Utah to meet his co-founder and CEO or president of the company. And so this is what you need to be doing. You need to move beyond LinkedIn with your prospects and customers and begin to build relationships in the softer areas where they really open up their personalities and share their background and what their passions are and build connections on those things. We did this back in the days before social, where we took somebody to the pub or to a ball game or to our home for dinner. Today, you can do that digitally at scale, and you should be doing that daily.
And I agree with you. To me, social selling is just enabling us to use the digital assets that are available to us as part of our normal sales routine. It's just expanding the amount of information that's available. Often
Yeah.
I will go and have a look at people's Facebook pages to see what they have been doing previously. So when I call, I say, "Oh, did you do anything exciting on the weekend?" And I know from their Facebook that they've been down to a beach. So I would hope that we can talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. When you start a conversation on the phone, you don't immediately get into, "So have you signed that contract?" Right? You start out by saying, "Good morning, good afternoon, good day," and maybe if something significant happened, you're talking to somebody in London and they just beat Germany in the World Cup, you go, "How about those? How about that soccer game or whatever?" Right? And then once you've done enough of that, then you get down to the business stuff. It's the way we've always do it. I'm going to tell you a prediction. Social as a word will go away. It won't be social selling or social CRM or social marketing. It'll just be modern sales and marketing, and ultimately back to just sales and marketing. But ultimately, I do believe that service is the new sales, that we are here on this planet to help other people grow. And your job as a salesperson is to help your customers grow at scale.
Sorry, I was just taking a couple of notes there with what you're saying, so I had to look away. It is that service. It's when people are looking at it, there's that research that goes way back to about 2004. The American Quality Society did some research, and it found that of the people that leave a business, 67% left because of perceived indifference. I call it, they didn't know whether the company loved them or not. And it's that perceived indifference, which is a huge 67%. They weren't upset with you. They were just excited about you. And you're saying here, the customer service is the important part, the customer experience, I suppose.
Well, ultimately it's about connections. It's what you just said. It's perceived indifference. If you show a customer that you care, if you stay in touch on a regular basis, if you set yourself up as a trusted advisor where they see you as the expert that can help them grow, not as a salesperson who's trying to bag them and tag them, then they'll always call you and stay with you. But if they think that you're just out there to make your quota and to make a sale and that you basically sell it and walk away and you're not really there with an interest to help them grow, you're done. And, this isn't anything new. This is the way we've always done business. But I'll tell you what, I think that mass manufacturing led to madmen marketing and door-to-door salespeople that really ruined the word sales, where sales is a four-letter word. But I think that social media has created a renaissance in relationships that's driving an evolution of the way that customers buy and the way that we need to sell to them.
With that side of it, we're talking about the relationships and the time. People sort of say it takes too long to make the sale, but hasn't that always been the case?
Well, there's different sales cycles for different products, and some things are fairly quick and some things take time, but relationships take time. But think of your relationships with your constituency. And I say constituency because it's not just prospects and customers that you need to be connecting to. Ross, you are an influencer with your community, with your prospects and customers, and we've built a relationship with you that we've invested over time to earn your trust, to build intimacy. And that relationship has resulted in you being a representative for us and a dear friend and an ambassador. Now, you have to think of your relationships as a garden. You need to get out there in your garden and tend to it on a daily basis. If you tend to a garden on a regular basis, it produces amazing results. But if you leave your garden alone for too long, what will happen is it'll turn to weeds and you'll have to rototill it. And that's what happens to many relationships. That's what you talked about a little bit ago about the perceived indifference. They rototilled you.
Yeah, and that's, I get really upset about that real estate agents and mortgage brokers, I find, strike that because they forget about it. And one of the stories I tell about realtor that we had as ourselves. And she was a wonderful lady. And this was back in the 90s and early 2000s. So CRMs weren't common in that industry at that time. And she told us, and she listened to us, what we didn't want to go into a suburb. We didn't see a house in any of those suburbs, only the ones that we said we wanted to look at. And then we bought the house, and she got us to look at other houses similar, knowing that they wouldn't be the right one, but she wanted us to compare. And then when we bought the house, she took a photograph of the house, and come Christmas time, there was a magnetic calendar that stuck on the fridge with a photograph of the house. And then she kept in touch about every 6 months or so. A couple of years down the line, we bought an investment property. And the next Christmas, we had 2 calendars on the fridge with that photograph of the house on there. But she was keeping in touch just periodically, not selling, but she was listening for the signals as it went through. And over a 7-year period, we bought and sold 5 houses through that lady.
Yeah. And you know what? She was professional. She did her work and her job by following up and following through, staying in touch, establishing herself as a trusted professional, and also maintaining a real relationship with you. And that's why you not only bought many houses from her, but you talk about her on a regular basis.
Yeah, and that's there. John, I'm conscious of the time, so we're going to make sure we cover the other subjects that we were talking about. One of the questions and what people say is, like MailChimp and the accounting system, be it Xero or QuickBooks, they're our CRM. That's where our information is. We don't need it. Are they right or wrong?
Well, I think that the fact that there's 225 million global businesses and less than 1% use any CRM is a testimony to the fact that for most people, CRMs don't really work for them at all. And that for most people, their CRM is their email inbox, a spreadsheet, or their accounting system. But anybody who is actually running a business that way is going to be in trouble, because what happens for most businesses is that they put their closed customers in their accounting system and they forget about them. And then they keep selling, but they forget to go back to the people that they've sold to get additional sales and to get referrals and to retain those customers. So I believe that anybody listening to this today, your CRM is probably a mix of tools. It's Gmail, G Suite, Office 365, and iCloud, one or all of those. It's some spreadsheets, and it's also your accounting system, and it may also be your MailChimp if you have a marketing system. And what you should do is you should get Nimble and unify your contacts out of your accounting system, out of your marketing system, out of your contact system into the singular system of Nimble. Let Nimble enrich those contacts with people and company data, so then you could then reach back out to people you sold to before and get new sales and referrals from them. And the cool thing about Nimble is it'll take your Xero or QuickBooks contacts, import not only the contact, but also their financial background information. And because we can enrich it with people and company data, you could then segment your best customers and build personas off of who buys from you the most, and then use Nimble to find new people that look like them to basically build a new business with. And it's a process that you could learn through people like you, Ross, because you actually teach that process.
Yeah, and one thing that you really highlighted there about people forgetting to go back, there was some research done, I think it was by Sweet Tooth about 2014. I think they're called smile.io now. And they found in the research that they did that if a person bought from a business once, they were 27% more likely to buy from that business again. And if they bought twice, they were 45% more likely. And if they bought 3 or more times, they were 54% more likely. So that tells me that if they're going to go out and make contact with those people and make an offer, they're 54% likely to close the sale with someone who's bought 3 times, or even if they only bought once, 27%. Now, if as a salesperson, I've got a good chance of achieving my quota when you might only have a 1 in 10 chance of making a sale to a new customer. And that, to me, is why I say, go see your existing customers.
Yeah, and I really believe that there's gold mine in everybody's business accounting system. So anybody listening to this today, go sign up for a 2-week trial. You could do it off of Ross's website of Nimble, and then use Nimble to import in your contacts from your disparate systems, including your accounting systems. And we have built-in synchronization through our built-in pricing to do that. And then use that to begin to segment your existing customers and begin to use Nimble's group messaging to outreach to them to rekindle those relationships. And remember that there is a itch cycle to sales. That if you sell somebody a car, it's about 3 years is the itch cycle before they're looking for a new car, and about 5 years is for a home. And so you should have a cycle where you then follow up and touch people during that itch cycle to be ready and prepared to sell them the next thing when they're ready.
Yeah, and John, just before, what I'd like to do is maybe you share your screen in a moment, just to show Nimble that that segmenting and going through to a message. But I just want to make a point about that hit cycle of of a longer term one. It's the keeping context. So often people say, oh, they refinance their mortgages in maybe 2 years and then they leave it until the last couple of months before they think there's people there. And often somebody's been in their ear beforehand.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You shouldn't wait till the 3rd year of the itch cycle. You should be nurturing and connecting with that person on a periodic basis throughout the cycle of the relationship. And Nimble's great for doing that. Let me show you a little bit about, so I think you need to turn your sharing off.
I've paused my sharing. You should be able to share now. Let's see if that goes.
Okay. Let's see. It still says you're sharing.
Okay. I'm not sharing now.
Okay. So now it's going to let me share. Cool. So there is my desktop. Share screen. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay. So we were talking about contact management before, and I think that relationships are built on the contacts you're connecting to, the conversations that you're having in email, and the activities that you're driving through your calendar. And that today in Office 365, as well as Gmail G Suite, your contacts, your email, and your calendar aren't connected. So when you go to a contact record, you don't really have the history of interactions that you and the team have had on email, calendar, and social. And that's basically what Nimble does, is it unifies all your disparate contacts from all those places and then connects them into a singular system that gives you not only who somebody is and what their business is about, but also the history of interactions that you and the team have had on email, calendar, and social. So here's a record for a gentleman named Satya, and you could see how Nimble not only mapped their identity across social, but brought their data down that essentially gives me who they are, where they're from, where they work, what they're influential in, who their significant other is, where they went to school, as well as the history of interactions on email, calendar, and social, so that I have the context, the history of interactions, and the insights, who are they and what their business is about, so that I could be more effective at engagement. And I could then use that back inside of my email. Here's an example of Nimble running inside of Office 365. And so let's see, where is that button? Just refresh the screen here. So, oh, there it is. Okay. So I just hit this button right here, and Nimble then exists inside of the email inbox with this plugin that you can plug into Office 365. All you need to do is go into here and manage the add-ins. Once you add it to Office 365, it's added to Outlook Desktop and Outlook Mobile. And the same is true inside of Gmail. You have a widget that sits right here. Yeah. And then it also works with you wherever you work. So if I'm sitting here inside of Twitter and I see that that my friend Ross is talking to me or about me, I could simply bring up the Nimble widget and hover on the name, and I have all the details that I need, including your background information including the history of interactions that the team and I have had on email, calendar, and social. I could also walk into your digital footprint and add value to your conversations. And most importantly, I could then follow up by scheduling a task, logging a note, or communicating with you, because I may want to go into here and thank you for saying this or mentioning me, but I might also want to be able to email you or communicate on another channel. And so Nimble is the first CRM that automatically works for you by unifying your disparate contacts from all the places that you have them in email and calendar and social and all your business apps, and then enriches it with people and company data, and then lets you use it wherever you're working by using our plugin in Chrome, Safari, Firefox, etc. And so when you're wherever you are, you can build records for people or bring up records for them. You could even do this inside of a business article. So if I'm reading an article and I want to get a hold of somebody mentioned the article, all I need to do is hover on their name. And we also then work back inside the business apps that you have. So if I'm sitting here inside of, let's say, something like MailChimp or QuickBooks or whatever, I just simply turn on the Nimble Smart Contacts app, and Nimble will automatically bring up the record for that person. And so the cool thing about Nimble is that it will unify your disparate contacts from all the different places, keep the record up to date, and then let you use that record wherever you happen to be engaging, which I think is really the future of CRM, because you shouldn't have to work for your CRM and you shouldn't have to go to your CRM to use it. It should work for you by building itself and then work with you wherever you're working.
And you're so right there, John. This is just how I use it, because I spend quite a bit of time in Facebook and LinkedIn particularly. I reckon I probably save up to a half an hour if I'm in the office a lot in a day, just because I can do that. But the benefit is that I can communicate quickly with people, and it's about the communication that I do, because it can be relevant. Today I saw an article about posting 16 tips that about using email marketing, how to make better use of it, and it was put up by Brad Banyas of 366 Degrees. Mm-hmm. And I was able to quickly share that across and make connections and send that to somebody specifically. So it's looking at, to me, any system you use, regardless whether it's Nimble or some other system, it's the ability to think, what would that do for the person from that? John, you mentioned what I did want you to show is about segmentation, because I talk about that. If you use an email marketing system like MailChimp or anything like that, the tendency is to send it out to 600, 20,000, 10,000, 5,000 people. But what we're talking about here is segmenting a communication to a group of people. Could you just talk about
Sure. So here's a MailChimp record, and what you'll notice about a MailChimp record, it doesn't really have anything about that person. Yeah. So I can't segment a MailChimp record based off who somebody is, what their business is about, and the last time we interacted with them. Because Nimble will automatically log the last time you spoke to them. They'll automatically enrich it with people and company data, including what they're influential in and interested in. You could then segment off of all that information, and I'll just give you an example of that. So here I am in the contact listing window, and one of the cool things about Nimble is that you can import Twitter lists into Nimble. And so if I was going to attend a Microsoft conference, I did attend a Microsoft conference last year, and before attending, I imported a Twitter list of the influencers from the previous year's conference of 3,500 people. Then what I did is, and I'll just show you an example of that. So basically, if I want that Twitter list up, all I'd have to do is type in the name of the Twitter list, and then bear with me one second.
Yeah.
I'm overloading. Looks like my
please, I'm not the only one that does this.
Yeah. Well, I buy a really fast computer, but sometimes when you have a bunch of tabs open. But I'll just show you the example here. So I imported the Twitter list, and then I used Nimble to segment based off of who those people are and what the business is about. And I sent a one-to-one email to 200 people. And what happened was I got a 50% open rate. And that's an outrageously great open rate. And not only did I get a 50% open rate, but I scheduled 25 meetings at the conference, resulted in Microsoft signing a deal to start reselling Office 365, Nimble with Office 365. And so you can't do that with a normal CRM. You need to use something like Nimble to do that. Because it is the first CRM that automatically enriches contacts with people and company data, allows you to segment based off that data, and then let you send one-to-one emails at scale to hundreds or thousands of people, making it one-to-one, relevant, authentic, which drives open and result rates.
And it's making it the one-to-one communication, making it personalized as opposed to getting it. They've taken the time to get the data in the first place. Why not use that information? When I'm talking to people about building those relationships, make it meaningful. And if you use my name, use the name because you've taken the time to get it. And I like to hear my name. That's just natural human instincts. With the segmentation, that was you. So you imported a list of about 3,500 people there, communicated with about 200, and had conversations with about 10% of that 200.
Yeah,
basically, that's amazing. Yeah, and that to me is the power of looking for understanding who your target market is, and who they are, and using technology to do it. And that's what, to me, the technology, a lot of people think about any system, whether it's using the accounting system or using MailChimp or whatever, it's going to be this magic bullet to drive new revenue. And that's not what it's about. It's only an enabler of what you're doing. You've got to have the strategies and businesses and processes in place and the people that can use them. Is that right?
That's right. And Russ, I think that's where you come in because of your decades of experience of helping businesses to understand what they need to do and helping them to do it. I often tell people that most business people are too busy doing whatever it took to get in business, to stay in business, for them to step outside their business, look at their processes and problems, figure out a solution, and then implement it to actually get any type of results. And even though Nimble is #1 rated in ROI, satisfaction, and ease of use in both the CRM categories, inside the email and sales intelligence categories, it still requires somebody like you to really maximize the results. And that's why we love partnering with people like you to help our Nimble customers grow.
Thanks, John, for the kind words. It's to me, that G2 crowd is a really great tool. I often say to people, if you're looking at getting, because they don't only just do customer relationship management systems and marketing systems, they do lots of them. But there's 365 CRMs out on the marketplace. And once I used to be able to charge or set up a for people to say, look, we'll assess your needs, and then we will identify which CRMs are best for you and put 2 or 3 together for you to look at. Mm-hmm. You can't do that now because the cost of subscriptions and having access to a CRM is no longer $20,000 a pop. It's maybe $300 to $600 a year per person, like maximum. And so I refer them to G2 Crowd to look at any of them and see what users are saying about software. And to me, it's an independent thing. It's not a biased thing. It's what users say and how they rank them. Yeah. And I rely on a lot.
And one of the things I'm excited about is not only are we #1 market leader in satisfaction and in CRM, but we're also a market leader in sales intelligence and also in sales enablement, email tracking. And ultimately, you need a blend of all 3 of those in order for you to be effective for outreach and engagement. And instead of having to go out and buy Inside View or LinkedIn Sales Navigator or Dun & Bradstreet, you can buy Nimble because it gives you all of that in one simple solution.
Yeah, it is. Well, John, look, we're coming up to the end of the time. What I'd like to do now is, there's not many questions at all at the moment coming through. If people are putting them in, they can always email me, and they can see it on, if they're on social media having looked at this, you can send me a message as well. If you've got any questions about using technology in your business to build customers that grow, build relationships that grow your business, I'm quite happy to do that. And you can always send email and information to John as well, but come in to me, be happy to help. I've also got a bit of an offer. If I could just take the screen share back there, John, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whoops. And I'll just go down to the offer. I've got that offer there. Whoops. Is a 45-minute call with me, with no charge, and I'll take you through my 5 steps to increase sales. And it's really looking at your business, your customers, your prospects, your conversions, looking at the number of transactions you might do in a year and the average value of transactions, and trying to find out which of those 5 you can possibly change to do that, and also give you a copy of 10 reasons why to have a CRM in your business. I believe that any business that's got more than 200 connections of any type should be using a CRM, and I'm a bit biased, aren't I, John?
No, I'm with you 100%. And by the way, I love your logo where you have a tree there as the display, because I really do believe that relationships need to be nurtured, and that your community is your garden, and that if you're focused on helping other people grow, that you can achieve anything in this world, including building a gold mine.
Yeah, it is. So, folks, that's the offer. There's the link. I will also send that out with the email to those people who are watching the recording. You can have that link. Make the time. It's free. And we can go through, and I can help you with answer any questions and have any discussions. John, thank you so much for coming online. I know it's been a long day for you. You've been on a couple of webinars today, and you're into your evening up there in California. So Thank you. It's a pleasure to have got to know you over these 7 years, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Ross, it really was a pleasure today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to reconnect and inspire and educate your community. Have an amazing day.
Thanks very much. Bye for now, people.